It's all right with Michael. It's all right with me. It's all right with Michael. It's a movie to see. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right now, Michael. It's a movie to see.
I don't know how to feel about this.
Yeah, that's fair. Sometimes you
I was
sometimes
not
you
reviewed
make
this before we started recording.
Yeah, I just said like I have an idea, I'm gonna do it. And you're like, okay.
All right, I wasn't expecting like a ballad in my name.
Probably should have asked like what you actually thought about the movie before I did the ballot. But yeah. It's like
My opinion of this movie is honest, like it's fine. Didn't love it, didn't hate it, it's fine.
mhm.
But then I have to acknowledge right off the bat that I do have a kind of a chip in my shoulder when it comes to biopics in general.
Yeah.
Which something because the older I've gotten, the more I've kind of just paid attention to like how media like is interpreted into every other like form of common knowledge we have. Biopics have become a little more under scrutiny with me.
Mm.
Because most of them are pretty damn inaccurate, and then you have to spend the rest of pretty much the rest of time explain why the movie is not actually how this life's turned out.
You got to Google stuff. You got to Google stuff.
It's more like it since it is a more popular medium than how you would typically learn this information. It does kind of take precedent in terms of what people refer to, and what I'm calling the Amadeus effect.
Yep. Okay.
Which for those who don't know, Amadeus is like the only movie made about Mozart because it was so good. And it's a fantastic movie, but it did promote this idea that Mozart and Salieri had this rivalry that never existed, which is something the director is acknowledging. Cops like that was not a real thing.
Yeah, they were like friends, weren't they?
They collaborate. I don't know how to say how close friends they were, but
okay.
So because of that, and like now you have like the more thing you would think people won't take that serious, like The Greatest Showman. People kind of take it face value. They should.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Yeah. Greatest Showman. I think it was either you or someone else who said it. Greatest Showman was like the movie that P.T. Barnum would make about himself.
Pretty much. I don't know if it was me who said that. If I did, that was pretty smart of me. And I remember liking The Greatest Showman for what it was, but it does again fall back into it's like, yeah, but what does it really tell you about the people involved?
It does paint a really effed up dude as like a lovable Hugh Jackman music man.
Oh, look at this just super stunning and charming capitalist.
And look, he loves his performers. He sings songs with them. He's a little mean in the middle, but he learns his lesson.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just being super.
And he never sewed together animal corpses to make things to put in his weird ass Frico museum.
So with that,
they never brought that up in the movie. But
so with that being said, when you take that and you go into Elvis, directed by Baz Luhrmann of all people. You do really have to immediately go like, okay, you have to take most of this with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Which is based on the research I was doing while I was watching the movie. It's like, yeah, a lot of this is misrepresented. Like, and I get why. Like, narratively, it makes sense. It does tell like a compelling story well enough.
Yeah.
It is very flashy, but distractingly so, especially in the first act.
That's actually kind of something funny I thought during the beginning, especially when you got Tom Hanks describing what a snow job is, like as far as a con goes.
Yeah,
where you make something so artistically beautiful, they'll hand you all their money and leave with a smile on their face. And I'm all like, and you picked Baz Luhrmann to direct this. He's like one of the flashiest, most artistic people out there.
Well, hold on, flashy, less artistic. That's more debatable.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, it's the same guy behind Romeo plus Juliet and Moulin Rouge, right? Yeah.
See, flashy, yes, but like flashy does not necessarily mean, yeah. Anyway, I'm not a big Baz Luhrmann fan. I'm gonna say right off the bat, like Moulin Rouge it's not for me.
Yeah.
I have nothing against it.
It's like hit and miss. His stuff's hit and miss with me.
No, I like, but like right off the bat, you do have some like, for example, like right off the bat, like the real character that Tom Hanks plays. I think it's Colonel something. Colonel Parker.
Colonel Tom Parker. Yeah.
Colonel Tom Parker, who was Elvis's real life manager. He did not have
Mhm.
that accent. They made that up for the
Yeah,
movie.
he just sounded like a Southerner. Yeah, he just had a Southern accent. I
Uh,
don't know
like
why they made him like exceptionally Dutch. I know that they wanted to play up the whole, he's from Holland thing, but yeah, he
well,
just
the whole
yeah.
thing was they wanted to like give it like an otherness vibe to it.
Mm.
Which I think what the director actually said. So like that's why that exists. They wanted to deliberately say like, what's up with this guy kind of thing.
No.
To portray like the harder antagonist angle they play for him.
Mhm.
Whether or not that how much that is true is kind of up for debate. I've kind of heard conflicting accounts on that. That being said, I'm not going to go to bat for the scum sucking manager. So
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
expect a
that's
lot
that
of
guy.
like, how dare they treat him this way kind of thing.
It's interesting seeing Tom Hanks in a villain role, I gotta say, because he has very kind eyes, and there are some parts of the movie where it looks like he's empathetic, but you also know that the character that he's going for is not empathetic.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I mean, Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks. He can play where the hell he
Yeah,
wants.
Tom Hanks is fabulous. Yeah.
I still remember fair interviews when he was doing Saving Mr. Banks,
Mm.
when he was playing Walt Disney, and the interviews were fantastic because you had two like Disney executives, like directors, stuff like that going. It's like, oh, when we thought of who can bring Walt Disney to life, we thought of no one else but like the kindness and the gentle heart of Tom Hanks, and then just like two people who kind of like this kissing ass hard, and it just cuts to Tom Hanks. And it just cuts to Tom Hanks, goes like, I look nothing like Walt Disney. Give me a mustache and like
I don't even look like it.
like I look and sound nothing like Walt Disney. It's
Honest Tom Hanks, you gotta love him. You gotta love him. He has a lot of sincerity about it too.
Well, it's more like he knows what he's doing because he's done a lot of these biopics by this point, so he understands very clearly how the system works. I think he even said in an interview one time when he says like, "Yeah, now when I get biopics, I just talk to the person. Like if I meet with the person I'm playing, I just go like, all right, I'm playing a picture. I'm playing you. I'm gonna say things you never said. I'm gonna do things you never did." And by the end of it, we're probably going to win an award or something. So,
yep. Listen, I understand it's your life, but for me, it's Tuesday.
Pretty much, yep.
Yep.
So, all that being said, like the guy who plays Elvis is phenomenal. Like that's
oh my god, he's fantastic.
Like that's not even up for debate.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. One of the best parts of this whole movie is just the acting on its own. Like,
yeah,
the guy playing Elvis, whose name escapes me, and Tom Hanks is Colonel Tom Parker. Like, that's like they really play up the duo on this one, and they're both fantastic.
Yeah, like I don't think it was quite that intertwined in real life. I do know that he did exploit again. Like, there's gonna be a lot of that. I know I shouldn't focus too heavily on like the real life and like in movie distinction because again, it is a movie at the end of the day. But that being said, like I'm of the opinion it was Austin Butler, by the way, who played Elvis.
Austin Butler, okay.
But I don't know. It's kind of the age where I feel like that matters more than it used to for me. It's kind of like saying like, oh, we can just ignore the hate groups of like the comic geeks or the gamer gates. Like, yeah, you say that now until years later when I could like the fruits of your labor kind of pay off in that way. Like this movie very conveniently ignores that his wife Priscilla was 14 when they started dating.
Oh shit, seriously?
Yep, she was 14, he was 24.
Damn.
Yeah.
Although not, yeah. Oh man, that is.
Also ignores his two other wives he had after her.
Okay. Yeah, I did not do the research while watching this movie because I saw it with my mom and she was like filling me in on the parts that were true to life. Like, she was, yeah. Or like the parts that she remembers. Because yeah, Elvis was, like the stuff about him being like financially held hostage and the how he was just kind of stuck at the international for like the end of his career and life.
Yeah, more or less that's how it went.
And how he like performed every goddamn night. Just like Jesus.
Yeah, like I'm by the way, everything I know about this is a cursory glance. I'm not an Elvis expert.
Yeah, that's fine. Neither am I. This is I'm like a third-hand source.
Now, like I'm only just saying that for people that's going like, well, actually, that's not true. It's like I'm not an expert. This is all stuff I googled while I was watching the movie, and I had plenty of time to read. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes long.
Elvis scholars, get in the comments.
Honestly, I'd be kind of curious.
Um,
Like, I mean, I will say this for
I
biopic
would be
movies that
curious.
get things
Yeah.
wrong. It's like it does make me more curious about what actually happened. But it's
Hmm.
also why I hate movies like Trial of the Chicago 7. Uh,
Mm, like
Granted,
I
again,
did.
like,
I yeah.
mm, granted, as far as like representation goes, like this one is like less overall harmful than like say Trials of the Chicago 7 and how
Yeah.
they represent things. So like, I'm willing to let a lot of that stuff go.
They kind of one thing I thought was interesting was that they really kind of definitely played up Elvis's inspirations as far as music goes. Because I mean, a lot of people who just kind of know surface level stuff about Elvis is that basically his style of music was heavily, taken out of blues, gospel
Mm.
tones, like basically like historically black music.
Yeah, and
And
it's like
he
it's not a
basically
secret
like
that Elvis was
that was the
very.
appeal of Elvis was that he was a white guy who sang black music.
But that was not the
Um,
reason the Colonel signed him. That's an important distinction to make because that is something the movie implies.
yep.
It just kind of happened out that way. So like the movie implies it was a kind of a racial thing. It wasn't, as far as I know.
Mm,
Um, and it does also kind of apply the Elvis. And this one's a more up for debate. So Elvis scholars, if you know this one, chime in the comments.
mm,
He was also kind of inspired a lot by like white country and stuff like that, and kind of meshed it with black blues.
mm.
That's how I kind of his unique tone and style. So it wasn't purely black music that inspired him. That being said, they were a huge influence. Um, and he also wasn't as close to BB King as the movie implies he is.
Yeah, it
Um,
definitely made them look like they were like buddies who like saw each other all the time.
they weren't.
Okay.
They ran the same circles. They met once or twice, but they were never like as close. Like Buddy Buddy's movie implies they are.
Mm,
That being said, the thing with the ballad after they announced like after his death, that did happen. So like
the ballad?
or like when they're doing the whole Christmas special thing, and towards the end, like
Oh, oh yeah, yeah, If I Can Dream. Yeah.
yeah, in the middle of that, like BB King dies, and that's what inspired the last song of that special. Yeah, that actually did
Mm,
happen.
okay.
Except it happened during rehearsal, not when they were actually recording.
Ah.
But it's like again, small little stuff like that, not a huge big
Mm,
deal in the grand scheme of things. I'd say like the one big thing that is like they create for drama, but is kind of a problem with the overall picture is in the movie they make the Colonel like really pushing for more conservative values in Elvis's
yeah.
performance. That was all made up for the movie.
Mm.
Um, in reality, the Colonel loved the fact that he was controversial.
I mean, yeah, that sells tickets.
Exactly.
I mean, like when you're starting like riotous crowds, they're gonna make articles about it and you're gonna hear about it. And they're like, oh, we gotta see this Elvis guy.
Yeah. So like
I
all
mean,
that
that was
stuff.
also part behind the I hate Elvis pins.
Yeah, that
Was like
actually was true. They
controversial.
did actually sell "I
Yep.
Hate Elvis" buttons.
Yeah. That guy, he was a genius on that. Somebody was telling me about that before this movie came out, and I was like, that's really smart.
Yeah. So like
Mm,
that was like that actually did happen. That part's true.
mm,
So like, but any other scene where he's like don't do so much gyrating, don't do that much like whatever the hell he says, or do the
mm-hmm,
Christmas special, wear the sweater, do the dance. He didn't give a shit about any of that.
mm-hmm.
He was like, yeah, gyrate, turn the girls on, do whatever the hell you want. Like
Yes,
this shit sells
you're
tickets.
Elvis.
He
You're
was
the
a con.
talent.
He was a con man through and through. He knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So he loved that he could egg people on that way. The more controversial he got, the more they sold, and he knew it. So,
Mm-hmm.
so like those aspects are it. Like I feel like that's probably the most misleading part of it. The rest of it, at least on the face of it, tells a more overly simplified version of things.
Mm-hmm.
But at least not tonally inconsistent at the very least.
Yeah. Tonally, it was. I mean, yeah, consistent. I'm just mirroring what you just said.
Now, I mean, in
Um.
terms of like fiction versus fact.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so at the very least, like it gets to feel right for what actually happened, even if it does change a lot of the details and a lot of the,
Mm-hmm.
you know, stuff like
Yeah.
that. He also never fired him on stage. That's another thing that didn't happen.
Mm.
But anyway,
Damn, that was a good scene though. Damn.
it was a good scene, but it never happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Dang.
I know it's satisfying that we all want to happen, just never actually
Mm-hmm.
does. Now, in
I
terms
was
of
I
the
was.
actual movie,
Mhm.
now I feel I've gotten the part that bothers me out of the way.
All right.
And I always feel bad because every time we talk about a biopic movie, I feel like it always turns into this. Because the first thing I Google after I get out of the movie is
Yep.
How
How
accurate
how
is
how does this add
so?
up? Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I think that's a good thing to Google too, because it kind of helps to sort of process what the creators were going for.
mhm.
And it's also like just sort of that change of medium as well. Like, it's from a history book to the screen. Like, things in history aren't always as dramatic as we make them out to be in movies. So like a lot of people will definitely spice things up a bit.
Yeah. And like how much or how little that affects like the impact of these whatever the story is definitely varies in degrees.
Mhm.
Like, and again, like the one I pull up to like that really bothered me was Trials of Chicago 7, in terms of just embellishing facts and retwisting
Yeah.
actual people involved to suit a narrative. That shit bothers me. Uh
Especially when you're considering that the guys who were on trial for that were exactly the people who would be like catching on to shit like
that is, it's mostly like how they wrote Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character to be much more of like
that. Yeah.
the kind right-wing person when in reality he
Hmm.
was just a fucking
He's
bastard.
like, yeah, he really didn't give a shit about. I forgot the guy's name, but he was there, the Black Panther guy.
Yeah,
Um,
but the whole
yeah,
like yeah, he also like they cut a lot of his
yeah,
story
he
out
did
too.
not give a shit about that dude. That guy was tied to his chair and gagged for a week.
Yeah.
Just
There
yeah,
was no like righteous right wing person in all of this because like all that does is promote
no,
a ideology of centrism is the right
yeah,
way, which is
it's
bullshit.
he's a
Uh,
good white person.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
So like, or a good right wing white
yeah,
person. So like, and that's because like that director definitely has a bone to pick about keeping both those sides represented equally, even though they're not.
hmm,
But you and I both know this. But so like, I guess that's why I'm like, really was that movie that made me so much more skeptical about any like based on a real story movie that comes
hmm,
out because like, okay, this is clearly twisting towards a narrative, like, and it really just twists the whole story into something that it really wasn't.
hmm.
And so again, I don't think that's the case here. All that being said,
Yeah. In this case, it's like none of it actually, from what I'm understanding, just kind of from what you've been saying and how the movie's presented, none of it's like malicious editing.
no,
It's
except maybe
it's
against
it's not
Colonel.
like yeah.
Except maybe
I
against the
mean,
Colonel, but also like he's a manager,
yeah. The
so
only one you could point to as being like potentially malicious is just kind of making Colonel seem more alien on purpose, just because he was an illegal immigrant. But
yeah, which
yeah,
is kind of like
that's the only that that's kind of like on the border because
it's a little squishy.
it's
Yeah.
it's a little squishy. It's a very big gray area that I don't think I'm qualified to talk
Yeah.
about.
Like, and again, I'm not really gonna go to bat for managers or agents or
Yeah.
like it's like saying like, but what about the lawyer? It's not really gonna go to bat all that much over that.
Mm.
So like, okay. Because the intention here is very clear, which is like,
Yeah.
okay, condense 40 years
Yeah.
to 2.5 hours,
Hmm.
and try to make it entertaining. That's clearly the intent behind this. And
Yeah.
from that perspective, it largely succeeds.
Hmm.
Like
Absolutely.
the songs and the performance of the songs were all great and entertaining to watch.
Hmm.
And like oh, god damn it, Austin Butler does an amazing job as Elvis.
Oh my God, he's wonderful
He was
in this
perfectly
movie. He's
cast. He
so good.
embodies the
Yes.
character very well.
Which is also really interesting because it's just funny because Las Vegas, they have like Elvis impersonator contests. Like, and they'll like have these nationwide contests where they'll call Elvis impersonators from all over to do Elvis impersonations. So there's like a wide casting pool of
Yeah.
people who could be Elvis. And I think they really did pick the best one.
Well, I think it's because like when you go like Elvin impersonators, you already have like it's the stereotype version as opposed to the actual person.
Hmm.
There is a very
Also
distinct line
true.
there.
Isn't
So like,
like I actually went to a party with and that had an Elvis impersonator. It was interesting
well, because
because he
yeah,
wasn't like, yeah, he
oh
wasn't
sorry,
like Daniel Day Lewising around the party, like talking to everybody like he's Elvis. But he actually like while he was performing some of the songs in between, he would talk about being an Elvis impersonator and talk about the life of Elvis. It was interesting.
well, yeah,
It was
because like
like,
again, the impersonator is in the name. It's not an actor. It's just like I can do the songs and I can do a few
yeah,
catchphrases and the rest is just me.
and I can dye my hair to look like
Yeah, so like it's impersonator isn't quite the same pedigree
it.
as like
Solid.
here's a what's clearly designed to be an Oscar nom role.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Whether or not I'll get that,
this movie's going to be jumping headfirst into Oscar territory. Like,
it's definitely Oscar bait.
Oh, absolutely.
And like, even though it is 2 hours and 48 minutes, which is definitely on the long side.
Yeah, it took me a while to realize how long this movie was.
Yeah, I looked at the times, like I was like, how long is this movie anyway? It's like, oh fuck, I'm at that stage where I'm getting older. And unless it's a movie I really want to see, if I see movies like over 2 hours, I mean like, oh fucking damn it.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. Like the only exception to this is like Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I have seen like 7 times.
Man. Damn, I want to see it 7 times.
Yeah, I saw it 5 times in theaters and like twice on and streaming.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Yes.
Yeah, but like that is a worthy 2.5 hours to sacrifice myself to. I don't think I'd ever really sit down and watch this again.
I might do it if it's like on TV or if someone else is already watching it.
Yeah, maybe.
It is a good movie, and like one of the things I think is just kind of a big draw for me is just kind of how they play up Elvis's life, almost like a Shakespearean tragedy, and it's like a slow burn on that one. Like,
I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah.
I never get
like some parts of it are
but...
like some parts of it kind of feel like it's sort of like a duel, like a chess game between Elvis and Colonel Parker. And then like once they're in like Vegas, things really start to like kind of spiral for Elvis specifically, which is also, kind of what happened. He was on a lot of drugs, a lot of pills, and he was getting increasingly paranoid partially from those pills and partially just sort of something that they tried to portray in the movie. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but sort of portrayed from a lot of celebrity assassinations that were happening. Not just celebrities, but also like activists like Martin Luther King, Bobby Kennedy, which they show in the movie. But then there were other stuff going on, like John Lennon.
Yeah, like Elvis was very, to my knowledge, was very impacted by these assassinations. He did take like Black culture and Black activism very seriously, and very active and very actively and openly advocated for him. Like songs where he said like a protest stuff like that did happen, although they weren't necessarily the songs that they picked out that were in the movie. Like I think there's one like I think this is a song that starts the riot about like a third of the way through the movie. It was a song that didn't come out to like 2-3 years later. So
yeah, sometimes you're just kind of picking out an Elvis song that feels appropriate to what you're going for in that moment.
He also didn't get arrested at that protest either. They made that up for the movie too.
Yeah.
He did get drafted in the army though.
He wasn't. He did serve in the military. He went through boot camp and everything. For some reason, whenever people talk about Elvis being in the army, like I always in my head thought like, oh shit, they sent Elvis to Vietnam. That's badass on Elvis's part. But then like later, like it's all like he's stationed in Germany where nothing's happening. I'm like, all right, yeah, that's fine too, I guess.
No, like I was intentional, pretty much. I think that was something that they kind of hinted at in the movie, but it like Parker did arrange the whole thing. And basically just from some place where like, yeah, we can say that he's doing work, but really just kind of just waiting this out. So that part did happen, and that's where he met his 14-year-old wife. Which again, weird. I can't imagine why they didn't feel the need to include that detail accurately.
Yeah, can't think of any reasons. No.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah,
it only becomes a lot harder to root for the character for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, it's like they weren't willing to confront that Elvis was kind of a pedo. Just I don't know, it's weird.
Or at least a groomer.
Yeah, definitely a groomer. Definitely a groomer.
Not uncomfortable at all.
It's weird they don't want to mention that. Yeah, it's so odd.
Yeah, I wonder why. So like that's one of those details. Like, okay, kind of not doing yourself any favors in terms of representation there. But anywho, that pedophilia aside, let's just put that.
Pedophilia under the rug. Let's move on.
Like overall though, like I'm not sure if I see the Shakespearean angle. I just kind of see like as a pretty standard rise and fall kind of a story. I guess if you want to like compare it to like Shakespearean tragedy, like I don't know, like Macbeth or something.
I would think it's maybe not
Or
quite,
King Richard.
maybe like a little more. Oh God, I wish I knew more about other Shakespeare plays because I'll admit I only know his like big ones. A
Mhm.
lot of his comedies kind of blend into themselves, so most of his more famous plays are the tragedies or the histories that play like tragedies.
Yeah.
Um, if I had to put one on Elvis, I think yeah, probably the closest one would either be Macbeth or Othello, because
Maybe Othello.
yeah, those are the ones that feature like sort of somebody who is like a dark influence on our protagonist, and
Mhm.
that is Colonel Parker on Elvis. Um, so if I had to compare it to one of those, it would be either Macbeth or Othello.
Okay.
But um, but yeah, that's a loose comparison. If you're more Shakespearean than I am, get in the comments.
But yeah, I feel like this follows a pretty standard formula for a lot of biopics about like pop star, rock stars, or anything like that. Speaking of pop, though, it is always weird to hear like a more modern song play up in the background of any biopic
Yeah,
that takes place
I
in the
thought I
60s.
thought it's like mood wise, I liked it, but at the same time, it's also like, oh,
That's
okay,
distracting.
a little
Uh,
bit.
was like, hello, I wasn't expecting to hear whoever the fuck this is.
Yeah,
I was driving up this
see,
old
these are
hot rod.
that I feel like these are some of the other implications of Oscar bait, where it's like, yeah, we wrote a new song based on Elvis lyrics, and we put it in the movie to try to get best original song.
Um, yeah,
Uh,
pretty
uh,
much. So,
yeah, spitballing on that
but yeah, like overall though, like as a complete package, and if you just don't care about like historical thing, which if you don't, that's fine. Like
one.
I get it, you can just enjoy a movie as a movie, fair enough. Um, I I know I'm kind of a fuddy duddy as far as that goes these days.
Yeah.
Where was like again, there's no way to say this without sounding pretentious. Where it's like we're wider media literacy influences by
Historically speaking, I'm actually.
oh god. Uh, I don't hate that show, but I don't like that show either.
What I'm actually?
I'm actually
I like it a lot,
I
but
understand that.
I'm also a nitpicky motherfucker who loves small details.
See, I'm more of a person that's like I can't stand people like not necessarily people say actually I don't like
Yeah.
rewarding nitpicking nerdy information as a
Mm,
personality
yeah.
because it feels like that enables the
I
more
think it's just
toxic
more
elements
played
of
up
any
as a
fandoms.
comedy game show, like kind of making fun of correcting people and honestly almost kind of giving a space for it.
And like
Like,
I
yeah,
said,
if you're
it's nothing
interested in
against the
it,
show
here it is.
itself. It's just a style of thing that doesn't really
Oh
mesh with
yeah,
me.
if you're actually people in real life, like you're very annoying.
Uh, it's more like I'm just person like I don't know. As I get older and I see more people bitching about Star Wars, and like I don't know if I really want to
Oh God, I can't.
reward any super like ultra nitpicky nerdy
Yeah,
knowledge as like
yeah, they're
something to
doing that. I'm
celebrate.
just like, dude, it's watch the fucking movie and calm down. Take a breath. Get you get your giant cheese at tostada and just bro, get some food in you. Get a good night's sleep. Watch the movie and relax.
Well, it's even like I saw like an article in IGN that just said like here for like 5 ways that Kenobi just makes Star Wars worse, like canon even worse and more confusing overall, something like that. And I was like, no, it doesn't. Fuck you.
Yeah, calm
Like,
down.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't say continuity shit. Continuity doesn't matter. So shut the fuck up. Put your
Hmm.
little nerd basket back in the corner.
Yep.
Uh, and there's someone who calls himself a comic nerd for God's sake. I don't know. Sorry. I feel like this review has been me staying on my soapbox and a lot of different things.
I mean, I don't talk a whole lot in general either, but like I offer insights. I can bounce off stuff.
That's good, but
Yeah.
I always love your presence here. So don't feel like you're being
No, no,
undervalued.
no, no, no. I didn't mean to be all like I would like to talk. No, that was not my goal on that one. It's just
Okay.
you were saying like I'm worried I talk too much. I'm all like, oh, I just don't talk very much. Just
Okay.
I like listening. I listen to things.
Fair enough. I
Like
feel like we've gotten
Elvis.
on
Hey,
more than a few tangents here.
what's up?
Anyway, overall, Elvis,
Mhm.
it's fine.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's all right with Michael. It's all right with me. If it's all right with Michael, and it's a movie to see.
All right.
It's all right. It's all right.
I'm being serenaded and I'm slightly uncomfortable. Uh,
It's all right now, Michael. Any way you do.
Not helping.
No, no, okay.
Okay, you do you, buddy. I appreciate you. Uh, so yeah. Is there anything in particular you want to talk about?
Um, yeah, we touched on the history stuff. Yeah, I liked. We talked about the acting. We talked about the Matt runs through a mental checklist in real time. Um, I think I'm good.
All right,
I think I'm
cool.
good.
Then
I'm
Elvis.
satisfied.
It's
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable. Yeah.
So yeah, that's all we have
If you
for.
got the time and your movie theater isn't air conditioned so cold that it's making you drowsy, yeah, go for it.
Jesus, where'd you see this?
I saw it at the Cinelux down the street from my house.
Oh, Cinelux.
Mhm.
Definitely the lesser theater brand around here.
Yeah, but matinee tickets were only $6.50, so I was not complaining.
See, that's why I got A-list. I'm like got the good seats for free.
Mhm.
But anywho, so
Anywho,
we still gotta watch the Minions movie. So we're gonna try to figure out how we can do that.
you know what? I think I'm sick that day.
You already
Oh,
volunteered.
I did. Fuck. I volunteered in air quotes. Like I volunteered in the same way the National Guard volunteers.
No,
like,
no.
I'll
It
be
doesn't work that
around if
way.
you
It
need.
doesn't work that way. You said I'd be willing to check out Minions. That is you signing away your rights there.
I will step in for
There you don't you try to back out on me now, Matthew.
You're not gonna 50 Shades Darker me again, motherfucker.
Oh God, no, thank you. I never want to see the movie again. Once it was announced. But so there's that. I know Thor comes out this week, so I'll probably check it. Make time to watch.
Oh shit, does it? Hell yeah!
Yeah, it comes out on Thursday. So I got my tickets for that. I'm kind of trying to check left field things.
Thursday, funny. I like it.
But in the meantime,
Thor comes out on Thursday.
I see what you did there. Meantime, I think it's all we got, guys. Thank you all for watching. See you later.